What is up, everybody? Welcome to Chillporeal, my weekly chill stream that's a big part of the Nerdporeal continuum. And with me is one of my oldest friends on the platform, someone who I think I ever did my first stream with, and that is Mike, Pacific414. Good to see you, man. It's been a while. How you doing?
It has been a while, and I'm doing pretty good. Just going out there doing my thing when it comes to the channel, and I'm enjoying it. I'm still enjoying it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, Mike, I know you started your channel. I think you started yours in 2018, 2019. I know you started your channel's definitely older than mine. I know that for sure. If I remember correctly, you originally you just covered sports, right? And then you decided to go into pop culture. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, I originally did post game recaps for the Chicago Cubs, because I'm a big Cub fan. And I thought, well, I'm pretty knowledgeable when it comes to the Cubs and baseball in general, and maybe I'll start talking about that. And it was working well for a while, and after a few years, I just started getting burned out trying to keep up with each and every game that I watched. And some seasons, it was just a rough season.
It's the Cubs. It's a Chicago team.
It is. It is.
I always, whenever somebody talks about how dangerous bears are in the wild, I'm like, as long as they're not Chicago Bears, because Chicago Bears will just kill your season. They won't kill you; they'll kill the season that they're playing in. So, but yeah, so when 2016 happened, I don't watch baseball. I haven't watched baseball in a very long time. But this I had to see for myself. When the Cubs made it to the World Series, I was like, they're gonna choke. I know they're gonna choke. I want to watch it, and they didn't. They won the game. They won the World Series that year.
And that season, even prior to that season, I just had this strange feeling that I never had going into a Cubs season. Going, this team's gonna do something special. They're going to surprise a few folks. And there was even a point during the season where my history teacher from high school, who was also a Cub fan, he and I have kept in contact as best as we can. And he sent me an email and he says, Mike, I don't know if they're going to make it because at the time the Cubs were in the middle of a losing streak during the season. And he was thinking, oh, here we go, same old Cubs. And I said, don't lose faith. I have a feeling they're going to do something this year. I didn't know what. I didn't, have World Series champions at the end of my checklist, but I just felt like they're going to do something. Then they bring back Dexter Fowler shortly after spring training starts. And, he was one of the Cubs' main guys in the lineup out on the field that really got the team going.
I was just surprised by the performances. I mean, everybody. I mean, all those guys, all those young guys. I mean, they did really good. Because I remember 2003. The whole. I actually watched that game. I was starting college, or I was literally starting my freshman year of college that time. The whole Bartman thing. The whole Bartman thing I saw it live. Like, I don't watch baseball, but I saw that moment live. And he never came back. That guy never came back to Chicago as a result of catching that foul ball. And he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong.
He did what any other fan would do if they're at a baseball game, you see the ball coming toward you. What are you gonna do? Well, one person's gonna go like this. Another person, like Steve Bartman, is gonna reach out for the ball.
Yeah. So it was just wild. And I talked to another friend about this, and he's like, he never did interviews, he never talked about it, and he's still a fan. He still considers himself a fan, even though he can never go back to a ball game.
Yeah.
So,
and bringing up Steve Barton, there is something the Cubs did do for him when they won the World Series. They sent him a World Series ring.
Oh wow, that's wow. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I didn't know that. That's great to hear. It's almost like a little bit of, even though you didn't do anything wrong, it's like, hey, there's no beef. There's no beef between our organization and you. So,
and that's the thing, you have these sports stations that still like to bring up 2003 and Bartman, and it's like, okay, move on.
Yeah,
it's water under the bridge by now. Come on.
So I got a question. Since we're talking about baseball, what is some of your favorite baseball movies and entertainment?
Well,
because my dad was a big baseball fan, so we had quite a bit of baseball movies. There's still some I still haven't seen yet, but just wanted to hear what some of your favorites are.
I liked The Natural with Robert Redford.
That's one we had that I never seen. I that's one I gotta watch. So yeah, I'll write that down right now. The Natural.
It's always one of my favorite movies to watch. And
isn't Wilford Brimley in that one too? Isn't he like coach?
Yes, he is.
Does he have diabetes in that movie? Probably not.
Or
he's eating Quaker Oats. Right, The Natural.
Make sure you eat your Quaker Oats. And don't get diabetes.
The Family Guy segment. I'm Wilford Brimley and I have diabetes. Last year I ran out of ice cream, so I beat my wife, but then my wife's been dead for 2 years. So who the hell did I hit? So it was I like that was like, and that was when Family Guy was funny. Family Guy, that was when Family Guy was good. So okay, so The Natural. One movie I really enjoyed was I think one of the earliest movies I saw was Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner.
That's
if you build it, they will come. Eases pain. And that's where I first learned about the 1919, Black Sox scandal, or not the scandal, but the 1919 World Series, and Shoeless Joe Jackson and all those guys, and
the White Sox basically threw the World Series against the Reds, and the only one who wasn't for it was Shoeless Joe Jackson, but he got punished because it was guilt by association.
Yeah, and so they were all banned from ever playing in the major leagues after that. So I think they still played. They played in these alternate leagues that didn't care or something, I guess. So yeah, you can't. I forget, what was it? Betting? Was it betting or something? Or
yeah, it was. They were betting on the game.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's if you want to see how that plays out. That's another movie I still haven't watched in its entirety. 8 Men Out. That's another one. John, I think John Cusack.
It's real good.
Yeah, I know Christopher Lloyd's in that one. Christopher Lloyd and I can't think who else. There's a bunch of people. So it's been a while, but that was one that we had on VHS. Major League. I saw Major League. I was young enough to enjoy the wackiness of Major League 2, and plus it was PG. It wasn't like the R-rated first one.
But the first one's great. First one's one of my favorite baseball movies.
First movie I ever seen with Charlie Sheen. That Major League's first movie I ever seen. Major League 2 is the first movie I ever seen with Charlie Sheen. So he's wearing the glasses. He's pitching the perfect. He's saving the day with his pitching with the glasses on and all that. So
yeah, and you have Bob Uecker, who plays Harry Doyle in the movie, and he was also in Mr. Belvedere, but he was actually a catcher for the Braves during his major league career, and he's currently still broadcasting close to his 90s for the Milwaukee Brewers.
That's awesome. That's crazy. I was trying to think what's another good movie?
Bull Durham. Have you ever seen Bull Durham?
I've seen parts of it. Another Kevin Costner one.
Hmm.
Isn't what's her name in this? Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon.
Isn't that how she meets what's his name? Andy Dufresne,
Yeah.
Tim Robbins in that
Yeah.
movie. Bull Durham. Yeah, okay, that's another one.
Mhm.
Bull Durham.
And it's not that recent anymore, but it came out 10 years ago or so. It was 42 with Chadwick Boseman as Jackie Robinson. It also has Harrison Ford in it.
Really, Harrison Ford. Who does he
Yeah,
play?
yeah. Uh, he plays the Dodgers manager, who was the Dodgers manager that actually signed Jackie Robinson to his Dodgers contract.
What, I'm curious what he's. I'm curious what his lines were in that movie. He's like, "Get out of my stadium," or something like that. Something like. Did
No,
he say
no,
that?
he was actually good as Branch Rick.
Okay. Harrison Ford. When you don't see him in a leading role, there was one movie I'll never forget that he was kind of like the creepy villain in this
Mhm.
one. It was an old movie with Gene Hackman. It was called it's not based. This is not it's not a baseball movie though, but it's called The Conversation. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. It's where
No, I
Gene
haven't.
Hackman plays like a sound guy who taps phones for a living, and ends up becoming a paranoia movie because he thinks that the people are watching or listening in on him now and all that, and he's working for Harrison Ford, who's this executive of this big company in this high-rise building, and he thinks that Gene Hackman thinks Harrison Ford's after him, and Harrison Ford doesn't. He's a younger dude. So this 1974. Bit of a creep. He can do a good creepy. He could do a good creepy role if you give it to him. So, but that just made me think like him doing something that's not a hero or not being or like being the star of the movie or anything. So, well, there was
Yeah.
one movie where he was a villain.
Oh,
What Lies Beneath with Michelle Pfeiffer.
I've never seen that.
I
I've
saw.
heard of it, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
So she starts having visions, paranormal visions of victims in the house she lives in, and well, lo and behold, it's her spouse. Spoiler alert: Harrison Ford, who's the bad guy in that one. So, uh, but yeah,
And
that was
you mentioned Gene Hackman. I do have a movie recommendation for you, and it has him and Denzel Washington in it, and that would
Crimson
be
Tide.
Crimson Tide. Yeah,
I've not seen Crimson Tide. That's a movie I have is on my list, but I'll write it down again.
I think you'll like a certain part of the movie because there's a certain part where Denzel Washington is telling a young engineer, "Listen, I need you to be like Scotty from Star Trek. You ever watch Star Trek? Well, we're not getting all the power we need right now. I need you to give me all the power we've got, Scotty." That's
Yeah,
not exactly how he
and I
says it,
need it,
but
and I need it now. I need it now, Scotty.
hmm
I need warp drive in 2 minutes, or we're all dead. Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, just Wrath of Khan still fresh in my head from my pops stream the other day. So, but
that was
dude,
a good
talk
stream.
him and me and man, I should get me and Loki could we could really uh,
Yeah,
blow holes in a great Star Trek stream right there. So
that's the thing. I've had Loki on my channel. The last time I had him on my channel was back in July of last year, and I told him I do Star Trek streams every now and then. And he said, "Hey, if you ever want me on, just let me know."
the only conversation I know is the song by Hank Williams Jr. and Waylon Jennings. I don't think I know that one. So okay, so I forget we did I think my first ever stream I did was on your channel, I believe.
Hmm.
I forget what it was. What was it? Was it like a 50? What was it exactly?
You know what it was? It was one of the early episodes of Pop Talk.
When you were
You,
still
you
before Pop Top became a super group with a whole lot of ego. You got Baron, you got Cash, you got you three. I mean, you guys are like, I think you guys are worse than Cream. I mean, you clapped in Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker. You guys are like, I mean, obviously, Mike, you're the Jack Bruce of the group, or no, you're the Clapton. Sorry, you're the Clapton of the groups
I,
of the Pop Talk
I
stuff.
say this tongue in cheek. I refer to us as the Three Stooges of Pop Talk. I'm Mo, Baron's Curly, and Cash is Larry.
Cash is Larry. So
Yeah,
Cash. So every time you poke Baron in the eyes, Cash is like, "That wasn't me."
exactly.
The-
But
the-
but but speaking of Three Stooges, I've always liked watching the Three Stooges shorts. I saw clips of the Three Stooges movie that came out, with Will Sasso
oh
and
yeah.
them, and I'm all, this isn't Three Stooges. No.
No, not really. I mean, not really. I mean, they tried to be funny. I mean, but I think it was widely hated by people everywhere. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they did it they did it in shorts. They divided the movie into like three segments and everything. But hey, you got Larry David in the movie. Larry David plays a nun, and Larry David ends up being like the villain, or like one of the villains of the shorts, or one of the villains of the movie and everything. So like they're fixing a bell on the orphanage, and the bell bell falls on Larry David. Larry David just starts off as this unlikable nun, and they had the nerve to name his character Sister Mary Mengele. Not the Nazi, that the angel of death, Doctor Mengele,
Mm-hmm.
and so the kids are singing. So the kids are singing, their woes of being, orphans, not having parents. And then Larry David's like, shut up, because, Larry David hates the sound of the human voice. I don't know if you ever watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, but whenever
I
he hears
watched
he
a
hears a
little bit of it.
child, yeah, whenever he hears a child or someone sing and they do such a bad job, he will go up to the stage and claps to get them off the stage, to get them to shut up. And they're like, Larry, what the hell are you doing? But that's kind of what made me think of there, right there. So, but that was like like Larry David was like, to me, was the highlight. He was barely in the movie. So, and then they had like the Jersey Shore, were the Jersey Shore were in it, and Mo was bullying the Jersey Shore, which I think was funny because nobody likes the Jersey Shore
No,
cast at all. So
no. Mean, I would go around on the TV trying to find something to watch, and I would see them on. Why is this popular? Why?
yeah. So, but what's funny was when I used to watch the Three Stooges too. It was on quite a bit in the '90s. It was on the same
Hmm.
station here in Chicago as Star Trek: The Next Generation and Voyager, and even the original series sometimes was broadcast on. So, like Sunday nights, they would have Three Stooges on, usually during prime time, and then they would have TNG. So actually, one time, and I think I have this on, because I used to record. Yeah, I used to record on VHS. I used to record Stooges. I used to record Star Trek: The Next Generation. There was one time where they tried to do a promotion with the Stooges and Star Trek: The Next Generation, and
Hmm.
they cut clips of the Stooges and funny moments from the Next Generation, and they put it together, and they called it the Stooge Trek, the Nuts Generation time slot and all that. And I've been trying to look for that, see if somebody posted that on YouTube, and it hasn't been posted yet. So I don't know if we still have the video, but I want to see if there's a way I can, if I can provide that thing, to provide that little clip to the world and everything, because I think that was a funny little thing that they did back then. So, um,
Yeah, yeah, it was because you mentioned, one of your channels in Chicago showing the Three Stooges. Well, in July, it'll be 30 years since I took my first trip to Chicago because some neighbors of ours who are originally from Chicago, and they're the whole reason I became a Cub fan. Well, they invited me to go with them to Chicago when they were going to visit family because they thought it'd be neat for me to see Wrigley Field for the first time. And I could still remember to this day, we spent a Saturday night, and one of the channels in Chicago, I don't remember which one it was, but they were having a Three Stooges marathon. And that's what we did the whole night. Just watch Three Stooges shorts back to
yeah,
back to back.
it was WPWR channel 50. Yep, that's the station. Yep, I watched that. I was I think my dad introduced me to the Stooges. I think I was 6 or 7 or 8 or something. It was like watching a cartoon. It was funny, and I got as a little kid, I got really into it. It was like was like watching Scooby Doo, because I watched Scooby Doo back then too. They're, chasing, like, there were horror episodes. They'd be chasing, they'd be running away from bad guys and stuff, and
Yeah.
it would be super duper silly, super duper violent. My mother objected to it, which means I definitely kept watching it, because that's what I did. And like best stooge is Curly. Best stooge, in my
Yep.
opinion, is Curly, especially Mo and Curly together. Moeller and Curly were great trio. I liked especially the Mo and Curly stuff, and after learning quite a bit about the Stooges and learning that Mo and Curly were brothers in real life, it makes it even funnier,
Mm-hmm.
because Curly was the younger brother and Mo treated him like he was the boss, because that was kind of how it was with the
Yeah.
act. Mo was basically the boss, and Curly was like, "You don't tell me what to do," like typical younger brother stuff. So, but yeah, it was learning about them. It was learning about them. It was pretty sad. I mean, what ultimately happened
Yeah.
to Curly and all that.
Yeah.
Um,
Dying of a
watch
heart attack and
No, Curly had a stroke during the one that's called, I think it's called Half-Wits Howl. It's the one where it was the one where they had to become gentlemen,
mm-hmm.
and that the episode ends in a pie fight. And what's funny was the pie fight. The pie fight completely. One thing I noticed about the pie fight years later was that Curly was missing from the entire thing. Was missing from that entire pie fight segment. And then I found out the reason why was during the shooting of that, he went to a seizure. He went to a seizure, and that he couldn't finish the episode. So Mo and Larry had to carry the pie fight
Mm-hmm.
in that one. Um, that was basically what happened. And then they brought Shemp in, and then Shemp became the third stooge of the act and all that. They're like, I'm going to be in this until Curly comes back. Well, Curly never came back. He recovered, but then things just kind of cascaded for him. He just got sicker and sicker and sicker, and then he passed away.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what's funny is I found that there's a channel out there that I want to I want to see if they'll actually respond to me. But there's a channel out there called Curly's Grandson, and I want to see if I can get him on here, have a talk. I want to talk to him about family, and talk about the Stooges and all that, because I've seen all the shorts. I know all the shorts pretty well. So, but
I
yeah,
think that'd be a great stream. I mean, to hear from him what it was like having Mo as his uncle and Curly as his father, and
yeah. I mean, it's wild. It's wild when you learn stuff about celebrities and people that you grew up watching and all
yeah,
that. So, but yeah, favorite one. My favorite one. There was a couple of them I really liked. There was the one where they're the wrong. They're not the Wright brothers. They're the wrong brothers, and they're building their own prototype plane. They're building their own prototype plane from the military, and it fails completely, and they're forced to join the military. They're forced to join the army or something, or the Foreign Legion, and then they reuse a clip from another short, and they just don't know how to present arms and all that. And then Curly's just doing random stuff. It's one of the funniest things ever. There's that one, and then there's the one with the most violent one was the one where they're handymen fixers. Curly's wearing the thing. They go into a house and they find out that the doorbell is broken. And not only is the doorbell broken, but they for some reason they go up on the telephone pole and they mess up with the telephone lines. And the house that they're working for is run by Nazi spies. So it gets wild. And Curly has like a spike on his shoe, and he's trying to climb the telephone pole, and he's stepping on the Moe's eye and Moe's ear and all that. I was like, dude, this is violent. Everything. You're like, how did they do this? So it was a great one. Like every time they find a wire in the wall, this is a gag they've used multiple times. They find a wire in the wall. Always one other one is pulling from the other side. So they're trying to pull. It becomes a tug of war thing. And of course, Mo is always the odd man out. So
mm-hmm.
Curly's like, Larry, help me. And then they pull Mo through the wall and all that. So yeah, I loved I loved those. So.
One of the ones that I always laugh at. I can't remember the name of it, but they're in court, and Curly has this, swear on the Bible.
take off your hat. Now put your right hand here. Will you please take off your hat? The disorder in the court. That one.
Yeah.
That's one. That was one of the earliest ones that was public domain. So every drugstore had that and a few Shempa shorts. I think one of them was the one where Emil Sitka's like, "Hold hands, you lovebirds," and you know, I don't know if you've seen that one. That's one that was one of like 4 shorts that were on the public domain. So they were sold everywhere. So yeah, if you didn't see that, you were living under a rock, literally. So
I probably have. It's just been so long that I can't really remember it.
But the disorder in the court one is a really good one. Besides like the whole gate, like they're trying to, he can't get through the gate, so he tries to swing and he can't get over the gate and he falls and everything. And then after that, like, the whole, swearing in, he's like, take you off your hat, put your right hand on the Bible and swear. He keeps putting the hat back on his head. The judge is like, what the heck are you doing? So, and then
what's the one where Curly goes, I can't see. What's the matter? I've got my eyes closed.
That's they've done that multiple times. I don't like every time like they got poked in the eyes or they got like a bucket on their head or something like that. Yeah. That was that gag was used a lot. Like another gag that was always used was, I want some burnt toast and a raw egg. Burnt toast and a raw egg. What do you want that for? Hey, I got a tapeworm. That's good enough for him. So. So stuff like that. They've. I mean, they did these shorts over a period of over 2 decades. They started in like 33 or 34 with Columbia. Now they did stuff. They did motion picture gigs, as like supporting roles, which I didn't know. So I finally saw a few of them. But the ones that they did star in the shorts, those started in like 34. Woman Haters, the one that was completely done in poem and song, that was the first one that they did, the earliest one that they did. And then I think the last one with Curly was the one I talked about, Halfwit's Holiday, and then Shemp took over. I don't remember what the last one Shemp and Joe did. So Joe was another one, and then they got Curly Joe later on for the movies, for the movies that they did after the shorts were shut down. So Columbia shut down their shorts department, and because of that, the Stooges were out of a job, so they had to come up with another means of making money. And so I think Mo did DoorDash for the Hollywood execs. Literally, he delivered food and stuff until like other executives were watching the Stooges, like, we want to continue to make the Stooges a thing. And so they made movies, and I think even Mo himself was like, we're going to tone down the violence because we know that kids are watching this on television. That's when they decided we're not going to be as violent as we used to be. I was just like, I mean, I was listening to Curly's grandson had a interview with Mo and Larry. This was from the 60s or from late 50s, early 60s, I think. And he literally says, like, because of that, we're not going to what do you call it? We're not going to be as violent and everything. So, but a lot of the so that was, I mean, that's a great interview. Definitely. If you're not subscribed to Curly's grandson, if you like the Three Stooges, definitely subscribe to them. Very great channel.
I'll check them out.
They talk to family. I mean, Curly's grandson and his friends reenact the Stooges all the time. I mean, Curly's grandson looks just like his grandfather. Now I know he never met his grandfather, because Curly died in the 50s. Curly died really young. So I think his kids were still children when he died. So at least that's what I think. So I mean, just growing up seeing your grandfather as an iconic, comic, that everybody knows. I mean, it's just it's very interesting. I'll say that. So I mean, I'd love to if because their channel way bigger. Curly Grandson has got like thousands of subscribers. They get like hundreds of viewers. So I mean, if I can find a way to get a hold of them and say, hey, want to do a chat or something, I'd love to. I'd love to do that. So. But yeah, we talked a lot about Stooges.
Get in contact with them and talk about the Three Stooges. I mean, they're classic comedy that we're not going to get anymore, but you can still watch.
Yeah, Stooges have helped me so much growing up. Like I mean, there was just so many times where I've been down because of circumstances and stuff. Way I was way I'm way other people have treated me compared to others, and friends souring on me and all that stuff. Really, really, really painful stuff. Um, and Stooges really the humor, the silly humor of the Stooges is kind of what snapped me out of it. So
Yeah.
as every time. So that's something I'm always grateful for. And I mean, I haven't watched Stooges myself in a while, but like every time I watch like a clip or something, it's always I always cherish those because of that. They're always funny. especially the adult humor that gets put in that you as an adult would understand, which I think is even
Hmm.
funnier, especially when Mo compliments or Curly or compliments Mo or Mo compliments Curly. Oh, you're a mighty fine dancer too. Oh, I bet you tell that to all the boys. Ugh, get away. Stuff like that. Stuff like that's funny. So, um, but yeah, but yeah, yeah, we talked quite a bit about the Stooges. So, the just to kind of carry forward. Yeah, but that's how I got into Star Trek, was watching the Stooges. That's what put Star Trek on the map for me. So seeing Picard and the Next Generation crew doing stuff, I thought it was boring when I was younger. It wasn't until like I said on Pop's stream, it wasn't really until I was an adolescent, until I was like 11 or 12, that I got interested in the franchise because of I
Hmm.
watched Star Wars. Star Wars kind of kicked off my interest in science fiction and space, and things taking place in space. So I'm curious. I know you said you started with, I think, Star Trek 4 you watched in school,
Yeah, I had a teacher who was a big Star Trek fan, and Star Trek 4 had just come out on VHS. So she thought for one day we would spend the whole day watching Star Trek 4. So I'm watching, I'm going, wait a minute, I know these guys. Because I'd already started watching the original series at 7 years old. And what got me into the original series was Transformers. That was my gateway into sci-fi.
Interesting. And I know Transformers came out roughly exactly around the time I was born, late '84. So, did you watch it when it first came out back
Yes,
then?
yes,
Okay.
I can still remember turning on the TV and watching More Than Meets the Eye for the first time, part one, and part two, then part three, and every episode that came on after.
Was it a was it aired on like Saturdays, or was it aired during the week?
Yeah,
Did they?
yes. Originally, when Transformers came out, it was aired on Saturday mornings. Then in season two, they got an order for, I believe it was 46 episodes, so they could have it air during the week. So when kids got home from school, they would turn on their TV, and depending on where you lived, it would either be G.I. Joe first and then Transformers, or Transformers, then G.I. Joe.
I do remember seeing GI Joe and Transformers when I was real little. I mean, I remember them being on. I don't remember what station they were on. I just remember they were on. I remember Cobra Commander. I remember uh, Megatron, and I remember, I remember those cartoons. Um, but I did not really, I really did not really know them until years later. Well after I saw Beast Wars, I didn't even know Beast Wars was part of that same continuity. So
Mhm.
Beast Wars was something that I watched. It was on in the mornings on the same channel that Stooges were on. It was on channel 50 in the mornings on during the week. I think Monday through Wednesday. Yeah, they Monday through Wednesday. So I watched those. Um, my friend that got me into Gundam and anime had the entire Transformer series on DVD. So I actually saw like the pilot. I saw the first couple episodes. They're on Cybertron. They crash into prehistoric Earth, and then
Mhm.
the next scene it's millions of years later. So during that millions of years, during the between those scenes, that's when the entire Beast Wars series takes place, basically.
Yep.
Um, but yes, so I saw those episodes, introducing the characters. Never really finished. There was another episode where where the Autobots were framed by the Decepticons, and then all the people were like, "Yay, yay, Decepticons! Yay,
Megatron's
Megatron!"
Master Plan,
Yeah,
Part 1 and Part 2.
I don't remember if that was the same episode where they're drinking the Energon and they get drunk off the Energon, or maybe that was a different episode. But that was another moment I thought was really funny in the first season of the show. So I remember them good old days on Cybertron.
Land of the Metal Rule. We didn't have to use these filthy Earth disguises.
So yeah, that was my main takeaway from the Transformers show. I never finished it, never completed it, but I did watch the thing that bridged seasons 2 and 3, and that was Transformers the movie. I didn't know it existed until like I said, I was early 2000s. With my friend had it on DVD. I watched it with him just for the sake of watching it, so something to do. I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like this movie is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm like the soundtrack, like you hearing Stan Bush's Dare, and Stan Bush's "You Got the Touch, You Got the Power," you got. I'm like, dude, this is. I mean, this is 80s. This is awesome stuff.
Yeah. Well,
and then
imagine being 8-year-old me. You're seeing names in the credits.
Yeah,
like Eric Idle, Leonard Nimoy. It's like Leonard Nimoy. I know who he is. Because, like I said, I was 7 years old when I got into Star Trek. I was 6 years old when I was watching Transformers. So when Transformers the movie came out, I was 8 years old, and it's like, Leonard Nimoy? I know him. He's Spock on Star Trek.
Who's Galvatron? Leonard Nimoy is Who's Galvatron? So, so it like the movie, like and you had freaking and then what's his name? Orson Welles is Unicron. I mean. It's who? Oh yeah, Hot Rod. Judd Nelson, I think, was Hot Rod.
Yeah, Judd Nelson.
See, yes. I don't remember if there was any. I don't know if there were any other major actors besides those that we already mentioned.
Actually, did you ever watch Unsolved Mysteries?
Mm-hmm.
Robert Stack was Ultra Magnus.
Oh yeah, that's right. Robert Stack. Yeah. Look, my friend. I was in the movie Airplane. Now get out of my way, and let's land this plane, dude. Robert Stack, Striker. But that's not important right now. That's not important. What's the Airplane? It's a movie. It's a movie with Leslie Nielsen, but that's not important right now. So. That's awesome. I forgot about Robert Stack. So we got Jacob here. What's up, Jacob? But yeah, going back to but yeah, the movie was just such a game changer. And I was like, I was asking my friend, like this is probably one of the earliest things in American, entertainment to have a major character die. I mean, this isn't Japan where it's like this isn't a gun. This is an early Gundam where major characters die all the time. This is Transformers, and this is in the West. So like just the idea that kids are in this movie theater and they're watching Optimus Prime, spoiler alert, get offed by Megatron.
It was a mandate by Hasbro. Okay, kill off all the 84 line, all the 85 line. We're introducing this new 86 line. Get rid of the old characters. You can save a few of them, but the majority of them, we're not going to sell them anymore.
So that was basically a demand. There was an ultimatum. You got to get rid of. We have to get rid of Optimus, and you got to get rid of Starscream. I believe. I don't know if there were any other characters that were off in that movie. I know Starscream and Optimus were the ones, and Megatron was changed. He was
formatted as was Skywarp, Thundercracker, and the Insecticons. Now, characters that were off, if you want me to go through a list, I can go through the list, or I could just give you the short and sweet version. Popular characters like Ironhide, Ratchet, Wheeljack were killed. You had Hound, who was killed. A lot of the season 1 characters were off, except for Bumblebee and Jazz and Cliff Jumper.
Is that why they made the movie? Was just to promote this, or to kind of start this new toy line, basically?
Yeah, start these new toys.
Who directed? Do you remember who directed the movie?
Nelson Shin, who also directed episodes of the series.
Oh, okay. All right. So there was some. Okay, it's
Yeah,
good. Then there was some
yeah,
consistency. All right.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Robert,
know.
not
Oh, go ahead.
Robert, but Ron Friedman was contracted to help supervise some of the scripts for the series. But in that contract, he got first dibs at writing the movie. And in every mandate he would receive from Hasbro, kill off these characters, kill off Optimus Primes. He fought and lost to keep Optimus Prime. He said, "You don't realize how important a character like Optimus Prime is to kids." And it's also because of the death of Optimus Prime. When G.I. Joe the movie came out, what they ended up doing is instead of killing him, which they were going to do, they ended up dubbing new lines and saying that Duke has gone into a coma instead of dying because of all the backlash they've received from kids, excuse me, and parents on the death of Optimus Prime. There was a letter writing campaign sent to Hasbro for them to bring back Optimus Prime. You had Dark Awakening in season 3 where they brought him back and then quote unquote killed him again. And then in the final episode, 2 episodes of season 3 of Transformers, The Return of Optimus Prime, Part 1, The Return of Optimus Prime, Part 2, they bring Optimus back. And I've listened to interviews from Peter Cullen, who voiced Optimus Prime, and Frank Welker, and they talk about when they received the script. And when they received the script, they're going, and Peter gets to his page, and then he reads the script further and says, "Wait a minute, Frank, I'm getting whacked."
That's wild. I,
Yeah.
you can only imagine being there to see that in person. But like, so was it the campaign that brought? So what was that the result? Them bringing back Optimus Prime, was that the result of the demand from the fans,
Yeah.
from
Because
kids?
of what happened in the movie, parents and kids started writing in saying, "Bring back Optimus Prime."
So
There
Optimus
were
Prime
kids
was
who were
that,
crying, myself included,
yeah. So Optimus
when
Prime
Optimus
was really
Prime,
that important to kids. Like he was a
yes,
role model, basically.
he was a role model. He was a father figure for some. He was like a big brother for some. That's how important of a character Optimus Prime became.
Yeah. It's that's interesting. That's really interesting to learn. I did not know that. So um, I know I know that I think it was season 4 was the final season of Transformers, or was there
Yeah,
season
yes.
3?
There were 3 episodes of season 4 called The Rebirth. Japan
Okay,
doesn't acknowledge them. Japan went off and did their own thing. We have
then
three
I had
separate
learned.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah. You had Headmasters, you had Master Force, and you had Victory. And they
I
definitely
see.
had that Japanese anime style. So
Yep.
of those series, I do consider them anime, but I enjoy them because they do, you know, go off from where the American series wouldn't go.
Yeah,
They do kill off characters.
that's wild. I know my friend that had the Transformers. He actually got like a boot. He managed to find like or to buy some bootleg DVDs, Hong Kong DVDs of that
Yeah,
particular show. I think. I think he
yeah.
found he found a way. He found a way to
There's
watch them. They were subbed. They were subtitled. So
there's bootlegs out there where they're subbed. There's also bootlegs out there where they're poorly dubbed,
I see.
and you can find some of the poorly dubbed bootlegs actually on YouTube.
Interesting. So so it's interesting. So Transformers was your gateway into science fiction, basically. So
Hmm.
I know you said you watched the original series, I forget. What do you say? Do you have a favorite episode of the original series? I don't think I've ever asked
It
you.
was Tomorrow's Yesterday that got me hooked on the original series.
So Captain John Christopher, and
Hmm.
they're like, you haven't brought anything of value to history. Oh no, but your son, Colonel Sean Jeffrey Christopher, will do so. And he's like, I'm gonna have a son. That was actually a
Yep, yep.
really really beautiful moment right there. So I and then you got then he had the computers saying, "Oh dear," or calling Kirk dear all the time. It's Major Baird being sexy Major Baird in that one. So that was the
Hmm.
other thing. And there's a lot of humor. Like they get caught, so they're taken down. They go down to the plant. They have to take they have to find the film that and the all the audio, all the things that record, all the stuff they recorded them, being in orbit and all that. They had to go down and get everything. So they get caught the first time. They beam the poor guard over. The guard's just like, I don't think he's barely moved. He barely moved from he stayed in the room, the transport room the whole time. So he's seeing this for the first time, and then Kirk basically fights three dudes at once, and he literally throws himself into one of them, and he gets the stunts are wild in that fight. So
Yeah, and what's funny, when that guard's beamed up to the Enterprise, at one point he's offered soup by the transport operator, and he puts his finger in the soup and then licks it, and he's all, "It's real."
so if I remember correctly, so in the TNG era, you had the replicator, but in the original
Hmm.
series, it was just like this really fast delivery system. You input it, and it's just sent to you right away. It's like I don't know, it's like a vending machine or something. It just prepares it really quickly, and you get it, if I remember correctly. So, but yeah, so the soup was real. It wasn't replicated. So no replicators, no replicators whatsoever. Thank God. I was imagining the other day what it would taste like to have replicated, chocolate mousse as Deanna Troy would prefer, and I'm just thinking, oh, it must be gross as hell.
Yeah.
Like anything replicated must be gross. So
I mean, you always hear them say, the replicator can't duplicate, this, that, and the other like the real thing.
yeah, and then the computer's like, what the hell are you talking about? The computer's
Hmm.
like, wait, I want real chocolate. I want real chocolate ice cream. And the computer's like,
Or
lady, what the hell are you talking about?
Tom Paris and Caretaker, hot, plain tomato soup. Because the computer says there are something like 72 varieties of tomato soup on file.
Yeah. Just hot. Well, some tomato soups have milk in it, some don't. So I mean, it
Hmm.
depends on the ingredients. I think if you had to do a real replicator, you'd have to probably list the ingredients of what you want or what replicated inside the stuff. I don't know. That's cooking me talking. So, um, but yeah, I mean, so yes, so I've been, like I said, like Star Wars was my gateway. I mean, I did watch Transformers. I did watch cartoons that were sci-fi. Mighty Mouse was one. I rented that at the video store, so I've seen that. I've seen DuckTales. So I've seen I've seen Star Trek. Not I've seen nods to Star Trek in cartoons. Like there was nods to Star Trek in Animaniacs and Tiny Toons and DuckTales. Heck, even in Muppet Babies. They're pop culture was a big thing in the cartoons that we
It was.
watched
It
back then.
was.
So,
And the thing is, I know I mentioned how Transformers was my gateway into sci-fi, but I do remember my parents taking my sister and I to go see Return of the Jedi. I don't remember much about that experience, but I do remember going to the theater to see it.
yeah, that was May of '83. So I was just a year and a half away. I was a year and a half away from entering this world myself. So yeah, the original trilogy was completely before me. So I still have not seen the original trilogy in the theaters. I haven't seen the remake, or not the remake, um the special editions. I
Hmm.
remember those came on for the 20th anniversary. Didn't see those because I just got the VHSs the year before. So what was the point of me seeing these new, special editions. So I
Yeah.
didn't see that, but I did see the prequels in the theater, and I did see
Well,
Episode One again when it came out for 3D, and this was right before Lucas sold it to Disney.
yeah. Well, you mentioned seeing the movies in theater or not seeing the movies in theater. My sister brought it to my attention a few weeks ago that our local theater in town this weekend is actually going to be showing Empire Strikes Back.
Really,
Yeah.
that would be
So we're going to go see it because I've never seen Empire Strikes Back in the theater
in
before.
theater. That's gonna be really cool. Like
Yeah.
I can only imagine, seeing Empire Strikes Back in the theater for the first time, and seeing how that movie ends, and then like, oh my gosh, we got how long till the next movie? 3 years,
Hmm.
3 freaking years. So you wait. So Chewie and Lando are out there looking for Han Solo. Han Solo is frozen in carbonite for the next 3 years. Okay, not quite 3 years, but I think in the Star Wars continuity, I think Jedi takes place a year after Empire. So then then you have the whole. And years later, because of a certain promotion for the new special editions, they did the
Hmm.
whole Shadows of the Empire um, promotion and all that. So
Yeah.
the game, the book, the comic, everything. They had their own soundtrack and everything. So um, for me, my big experience was with the game. I played the N64 game, so I watched the original trilogy and I played the N64 game. That was like, besides Mario 64, that was my earliest 3D experience with playing Shadows of the Empire, and I loved
I
it.
can remember going to it was Showbiz Pizza at the time. Before it was bought by Chuck E. Cheese, and they had Wars, the arcade, the original Star Wars arcade, not the one made by Sega, but the original made by Atari.
Yeah,
And I can remember playing that. I can remember having some Star Wars toys growing up, which
do
I
you
wish
have?
I still had.
Oh, okay. I was like, do you remember
Yeah, yeah.
what toys did you have?
I had Darth Vader. I had a Stormtrooper. I had Luke Skywalker, an Ewok, and Chewbacca.
Okay, interesting. I remember I never had any Star Wars toys. I didn't get into like I said, I saw Star Wars. My parents rented the first one, and then I think Empire and Jedi were broadcast, I think, on NBC in the early '90s. I don't remember when
Hmm.
exactly. So that's how I watched the original trilogy at first. I barely remembered. I was too young, didn't understand what was going on. Um, but my brother, when my brother was born right after that, and he got the Micro Machine, the mid '90s micro machines. Those. So yeah,
Hmm.
you opened up, like, if you got a stormtrooper, you opened it up and it was Bespin, and you had the little tiny little figurines of like Darth Vader and Ugnaught and Luke and all that. So yeah, my brother had that one. He had the I think he had the one for the Death Star, the second Death Star. I think that was the Red Imperial Guards. You open that helmet up and you get the Emperor's chamber and all that,
Yeah.
throne room or whatever. So yeah, so that, I think those were really the only toys that, I mean, I used to play with them with my brother and all that. So between that and playing, playing the N64 games, and I started reading the books. I got the New Rebellion. The New Rebellion came out around that time. This was '96. So Shadows of the Empire came out, but the New Rebellion was another big book that was hardcover. It was, if you, I'm sure you've been to Walden Books back in the day. Um, that was like in the front, like that was like the Star Wars book to get. So I bought that, and I actually I did read it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best either. But it felt like it took a lot of beats from the movies and just kind of redone them in a different way. So yeah,
And
nowhere
it was,
near as good as like Heir to the Empire and the original Thrawn trilogy.
yeah, and I had some of the Star Wars micro machines, so I don't have them now, but I do still have the Defiant
Ooh, the Defiant.
from the Star Trek line of micro machines. Try to bring it closer. I don't know if it's going to focus or not.
Mike, it looks like you have a little surprise for the Dominion. I love that. I love that line, and I love that line in season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Come back, you see the
The
ship,
search part 1.
the search part. Exactly. I love that. I was laughing. I was like, you said that. I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then the 2-part did not disappoint at all. So
But
it
real quick, remember the Enterprise?
yeah. Yeah, isn't that wait? That's the ship from Picard season 3, right? Right.
Right.
It wasn't in any other show. What's this Next Generation everybody's talking about?
No, you never saw a Galaxy class starship on
No,
DS9 or Voyager.
no. And it moves really quickly. It moves like the Millennium Falcon. Doesn't it move like the Millennium Falcon
Oh,
in that giant Borg cube in Jupiter's red eye?
when I saw that, I'm like, what in the living crap is this?
There's so many problems with that season. Like I understand why people liked it because it had a more positive thing to say, a more positive story to tell. But the show was littered with so many problems. Like it was poorly written.
It was.
It was just another. And I mean, to me, it felt more like even though it had a happy ending. The Data came back. People were waiting for Data to. People were. I mean, here's what I think they should have did. Instead of making it about the shapeshifters and the Borg and all that, or bring them in as bad guys at the end. I don't know, but it should have been like the search for Spock. But instead of the search for Spock, search for Data.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole season should have been about that. Them going out and maybe stumbling onto something or something. And then instead of giving Beverly and Picard a son, which I still can't buy.
No, I
Find
don't
a way
see
to
where they would
undo.
have. I don't see where they would have found the time to even have a son.
I mean, especially the way their relationship was going. But I think what would have been interesting would have been that they rekindled their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's a robot, he is still a robot.
Yeah,
He's still a
still an
robot, but
android.
so they go looking for they do a search for Data type of thing, and at the same time, Generations was a big problem for a lot of people. Generations, to me, Generations killed one of the greatest episodes of the Next Generation, Family.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, when
feel
Robert and Renee, you find out that they burned to death in the fire. It's like,
did
what
they
the heck?
now maybe Robert died, but maybe
Yeah.
what if Renee didn't die? What was the? I mean, they could. And I said this on other streams. I have to make a video about this. But what if the reason why there was a fire was because people blamed Picard for the death of their loved ones, or maybe or something else, or someone wanted to get to Picard or something, and Renee gets kidnapped, and they believe
Mm-hmm.
he's dead. And I think that would have been a great way to bring back. Heck, I had my way. They would brought back the original actor. He'd be in his 40s. There would be, and then Picard would run into him. Maybe he'd be one of those Rangers, those Fenris Rangers that they barely ever talk about. Like I don't even know why they even created this group that didn't exist before. But hey, whatever. Make him a Fenris Ranger, and maybe we'll find out like what happened to him, and we find out that he is, he's in his 40s, but he has his own son. He has a son, and the son is coming of age, and this would have been a perfect way. Picard meets his son, and he has the same aspirations his father did, wants to become Starfleet. He's very gifted and stuff, and that would have been a great way to kind of continue that arc that started in Family. And unfortunately, I think Renee would die. Renee would die to save his son, save Picard or something, and his son would carry on his legacy. And his son would go to Starfleet instead of having this Jack Crusher character I mean, I have no, I have nothing against the actor, Ed Speleers. I thought he did a good job in the role, but I would have rather had, Metalis could basically bring that arc back into more, that if that would have happened, I would have been crying. Like I would have been like I would have been crying for that. So
Yeah, that would have been a nice moment.
yeah, and hire a young actor, make him, hire some young actors and give them really good roles. I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at the new Trek, if you go to a convention, you look at the new Trek cast, like it was awesome. Like if you were an actor for Star Trek, you were treated like gold from everybody. I saw a recent picture that Red Letter Media posted on Facebook.
Hmm.
You had Jeffrey Combs sitting next to a couple of Discovery actors. Who got the line? Jeffrey Combs got the line. Nobody went, barely any. I don't think anybody was in the line to see the Discovery actors, like Dr. Culber, who is unlikable. His character is totally unlikable in Discovery, and I think Tilly was the other one. So nobody went to see him. Nobody went to see them. So
I mean, I heard Crit when he went to a convention say that anybody who was a legacy Star Trek actor had people in line, but as far as the new, no.
and it's sad because it's not really. I mean, the actors are just doing a job.
Hmm.
It's just the actors are doing a job. I think the actors need to be fit because you're on a starship. Star Trek Starfleet is harder than everything else. Like it's harder than Marines. It's harder than it's the hardest thing because you're in the most being in space is the most hazardous thing
Hmm.
to be in for a human because it's not natural for a human. So you have to be in like
Yeah, that I was gonna
you
bring
have to
up that.
be yeah you have to be like elite level like fitness, elite level
Mhm.
intellect, everything. So
I mean, look at it this way: you're in artificial gravity
yeah.
during your whole time. You have to keep your body motivated.
So let's up
You're
salty.
you're
Yeah.
you're not
Mike is
gonna.
actually Mike is actually on board the original Enterprise right now. He's actually orbiting. He's right above my house. So like he said, if we don't do the stream, he's going to lock photon torpedoes and blast this neighborhood of Chicago into smithereens or something. Okay, that's not true.
No, I said I would find a way to lock onto your signal and beam you up.
Oh no, no, not that. So yeah, but what were we saying? I just I got a brain fart. I just
Talking about how legacy Star Trek actors are
yeah.
still having people come to their lines, and new Trek hardly anybody even goes to their lines.
I felt like there was this one the Lieutenant Reese or Ensign Reese or something. He's the Asian dude that barely gets a line in Discovery. He was there
Mhm.
and nobody like he got maybe had one person talk to him. I felt bad. I actually felt bad, but I was like, am I going to talk to him? No, I saw the first two seasons and I stopped, and so I completely forgot about
Yeah.
Discovery and all that. So, and it was the same when I went to the FNT meetup in 2021 in Las Vegas, and I stayed at the Rio, which is where they had the convention. By the way, I accidentally knocked Rod Roddenberry over. Yeah, yeah, I'm a big dude. Rod Roddenberry's not a big dude, so his dad Gene was a big dude. Like
Yeah.
he was tall, and he was also he was taller than Nimoy. Nimoy's the tallest in the original cast, but Roddenberry had like a couple inches on Nimoy. So yeah, he was yeah. So it's just it was I ran into him. I ran into other actors, and I got a couple of autographs, but the one that I enjoyed the most was getting one from Andrew Robinson.
Yeah.
So he had pictures of himself as Carrick, and he had pictures of himself as Scorpio from Dirty Harry. So
Hmm.
I got two autographs because I'm a big fan of Deep Space Nine. I'm a big fan of Dirty Harry. So, and he actually talked for he talked for a few minutes, and yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's how my experience with Majel Barrett went. And that was 30 years ago at the San Diego Convention Center when I lived out in California. And, she personalized each and every autograph for everybody who was in line for her. And she spent time talking to everybody. It wasn't one of those things, what's your name? Okay, to Mike, love Majel Barrett, and then move on. No, she spent time talking with you. And
yeah.
that's what I appreciated.
That's why I don't really want to get autographs or meet like major stars, because it's impossible. Well, it's impossible for major stars. Like like I went to Fan Expo last year, and the entire Back to the Future cast was there. So everybody was lined up for Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, and I was just like, I'm a big fan of Back to the Future. I know you are too, and I
Yep,
mean I
I
grew
am.
up with those movies, and I was just like, no, no. You know what I did instead? I met Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, and you know what? He was a lot more fun to talk to. And I'm not saying that they're not, but they just don't have the time to have conversations because the lines are insane for
Yeah,
for major
it's
stars. So it's impossible, and I get it. So I like to
right,
find
right.
people who
Stand
are
right here,
not.
take the picture.
Yeah,
Next.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that was me and Shatner. Like Shatner didn't even look in my direction, but it's Shatner, so I can forgive that because Shatner's a dick. Shatner's a dick. Everybody knows it.
Well, I mean, come on, the guy's in his 90s. I'm grateful that we still have him.
That's true. And what's funny is he's only a year younger than Clint Eastwood. Now they're both, thankfully, they're still with us. Shatner looks way better for his
Yeah.
age, and Clint Eastwood is looking old. I saw they showed a picture of him. He did an interview. He is yeah, he's up there. Like, but
Yeah.
Shatner doesn't look like he's up there. Like he still
No.
looks like he's 10 years younger, or 20, 10 to
And
20, 10 to 15 years younger.
yeah, did you see that on Fandango? You can watch Shatner's documentary that came out this year.
Which one?
There's a new one. I'll look up the name of it real quick. Give me a
So
second.
I know he did one. I still need to see Chaos on the Bridge. Chaos on the Bridge about the TNG crew. That's one that's one that I gotta see. So, um, but yeah, Shatner. Yeah, meeting Shatner, seeing Shatner. Like he was 87, 88. I went to a Wrath of Khan screening, and there was a whole bunch of fans there. And then he comes on stage for like 2 hours. He's standing around, walking around, and he's talking. And he's one of the funniest people ever. Like he just tells the stories about himself, and he's always funny. Like he gets everybody laughing.
Yes.
Everybody's just he lights up the room no matter
Yeah,
where he is.
he does because also when I used to go to Star Trek conventions at the San Diego Convention Center, I was able to see Leonard Nimoy. I was able to see DeForest Kelly. I was able to see William Shatner, and just
I'm jealous.
he,
You got to see DeForest
he,
Kelly.
yeah, and just hearing you know William Shatner talk and Nimoy and Kelly talk, it was amazing. And you know, this is on a Sunday when Shatner's there, and the convention was supposed to end at 7 o'clock. Well, we didn't get out of there at 7 o'clock because Shatner was still going, still talking.
That's right.
A good time.
We didn't get out till like midnight. And then or we didn't get out till like 11:30 my time, and then everybody had to line up for the picture and everything. So I think I have it. So I think I have it somewhere. Let me see if I could. I'll show it later or something. But yeah,
All right.
all right. Let's see.
And I'm sharing my screen with that movie that's available to watch on Fandango.
You Can Call Me Bill. So was this
Yeah.
like a
It,
documentary?
it's a documentary about his career.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right. You said this is already out, or is it coming out?
Yeah, it's already available on Fandango.
All right, write this down. Shatner's You Can Call Me You Can Call Me Bill.
Yeah, and It says here you can watch from $5.99.
And what's that on? Is that CBS? Is that Paramount Plus?
Fandango.
Oh,
I'll
it's
get you the
Fandango.
link.
Sorry,
I'll put it in
Fandango.
the private chat for you.
Okay, Fandango. All right, cool, nice. Um, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, like, yeah, it's like Shatner. Like Shatner's one of the few that I still would. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I still enjoyed Shatner. The other Star Trek actors, maybe everything. So we know too much. We know too much about them because
Yeah,
of their tweets
unfortunately
and
we
all
do.
that. But yeah, but that's just life. So, um, but going back, like, was there any part of I know I asked you this before, going back to Picard, was there anything about that season that you liked, or do you think it was all unearned member berries and storylines just didn't pay off or something, or the positivity that a lot of people liked about it?
I will admit, when I saw the bridge of the Enterprise D
Yeah,
recreated, I did start crying.
yeah. I liked
I,
how I did like how episode 9 ended with the music, and then you see the ship, launching from the ship
mhm,
launching, then goes to warp and all that. But you don't really see
yeah,
the. I thought we were going to see the warp, but it goes towards the screen and like that. But I thought it was good enough, so I actually got.
yeah. And if you notice, as it's leaving, you know, the Fleet Museum and it's turning in the exact position of the painting.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's true. That's why I like that shot so much. That's probably why I like that
Yeah.
shot so much. So,
And
um,
when it goes into warp, it is the warp sound effect that you would hear on Next Generation.
yeah, and that's what I also liked about it too. So, heck, I incorporated that into my intro when I did the final card stream that we did. So, um, what did you think of the whole Vatic thing?
I found that character unnecessary. I really did.
Like the whole Vatic thing with the shapeshifters just didn't work at all. Like
Yeah.
they did the whole mystery box. They took the mystery box approach to that, and instead of just saying, "Hey, there's a faction of the Dominion that still wants revenge," I would have been okay with that. Fine,
Hmm.
divide them up. But this didn't make any sense because she was Dominion, then she's not Dominion. So what is she? And like, because they're super shapeshifters, they live less, but yet they can't be brought back to the link or something. So there was a
Hmm.
lot of things. There needed to be more information, and I don't think they did a good job with that. And the thing is, they're still the thing is they're supposed to be super shapeshifters. Like, they're
Yeah.
supposed to be even more dangerous and more undetectable than their Deep Space Nine founder counterparts ever were. Like, they did the blood test. You could determine who was a human and who was a shapeshifter based on the blood test. If I
Hmm.
remember correctly, in Picard, you could do a blood test, and the shapeshifters could still pass the blood test and everything. That was supposed to make them. It was supposed to raise the stakes, but the shapeshifters end up being less dangerous. Like, why were they using energy weapons in the beginning of the show? Like, they're still shapeshifters. They can still turn their arms into tentacles, and they can still turn to goo. And we saw that later in the
Hmm.
season. Like, Vatic turned into goo and escaped. Why didn't they just turn to goo and murder Beverly Crusher? I mean,
Well, remember Deep Space Nine? You talked about the shapeshifters being able to turn themselves into tentacles.
yeah,
When that ambassador came on board, who was actually a shapeshifter,
yeah, Krajensky,
that's
yeah,
what he did to one of the security officers.
mm-hmm. Yeah, just turned into a, and then went into the vent, and that was it.
Hmm.
And yeah, so you didn't need, like, Odo didn't use energy weapons. I don't think any of the founders used energy weapons. They didn't need to. So
No.
why are these shapeshifters, and these lackeys were also shapeshifters like Vatic? Um, why were they using weapons? Why were they using weapons? Period. And
It,
why was what's her name at the end of at the very almost the end of that arc fighting and killing them with swords? Like swords are
yeah,
not going to do anything to them.
that was ridiculous.
I was
I mean,
like,
there are other
who wrote this?
things of that series that were ridiculous that really didn't pertain to the Star Trek that you, I, and everyone else here knows.
And I mean, it could have been done. I mean, and the thing was, I mean, I went into this hopeful because I knew Metalis worked on Star Trek before, worked on Voyager, he worked on Enterprise, so I thought
Hmm.
he had some working knowledge of it. And then you have Robert Meyer Burnett uh, hyping this up. He was hyping this up for a
Yeah.
while. Rob, I can fully understand because Rob has some odd tastes. I mean, which is fine. But what really got me was what really brought my attention. You ever follow Dave Cullen, the Dave Cullen show?
I know who he is.
I've watched his takes on Voyager, and I mean, I like his takes on Voyager and classic Trek. He's a big classic Trek fan. When he said Picard season 3 was something truly special, I was just like, "Whoa, dude, this is unprecedented." So that got me excited. And then
Mhm.
other channels like Critical Drinker, Neurotic, they got on board. And I never heard of the Popcast Bros before. They were another channel, big channel that got into it. And freaking what's his name from the film what's his name, Chris Gore was on board.
Mhm. Yeah,
Whole
he
bunch of
was.
people were on board with this show. Like this, Paul Chato, he was on board. A lot of people were on board with this, and me and Prophet are watching this, and we're like, how is this? How is this a thing? Like his people's opinions or tastes gone so low to the point that something as mediocre as Picard season 3 was is considered a masterpiece because of how bad Discovery and season 2 and season 1 of Picard were. I'm just
Yeah,
curious. I'm curious if you got into. I've
I'm
gotten into
curious too
arguments with
because
people. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
I wondered myself, is it because you're getting the TNG cast to, you know, come back as the characters that we've known for 7 years and 4 movies? They're established characters, and you feel comfortable with that because you haven't been getting anything from New Trek as far as caring about a character and the situation that they're put in each and every episode, like you were with what happened to Picard in Best of Both Worlds. You know, learned about Riker and the Pegasus.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I like. It's just I'm just like I was just I mean I'm watching the shows like several times. Like I'm doing like I did a live watch with Steve Prophet,
Mhm.
and then I rewatch it again and take additional notes for the following day because I did my discussion stream with him and a few other people. And it was just there was just so many problems. Like the whole the portal weapon was just discarded for no reason. They never really explained how the shapeshifters were working for the Borg. Were they working for the Borg? I don't see the shapeshifters ever working for the Borg, even if they're
No, no.
mutants. Like I could see the partnership maybe somehow, but like the Borg Queen was the demon, jellyhead, evil supervillain that was giving her orders and everything. I was just like, no, I don't know about
Yeah,
no.
you know, one thing that Baron and I have talked about is when they went to the Fleet Museum to get the saucer section of the Enterprise and the drive section of the Syracuse. I'll never refer to it as the Enterprise itself, but they even say in the episode the star drive comes from the Syracuse.
What about the what
But
about but they
you
recovered the
know,
saucer, right? Didn't they recover the
yeah,
saucer?
they recovered the saucer, and
But then the
Geordi
cells were
mentions
destroyed.
that
And the
the
cells were destroyed in generations, so they had to do something else. They had to get that from somewhere else. So
yeah they got it from the Syracuse, the star drive section. But Baron and I have mentioned, well, if you're going to take the Enterprise, why did you take a ship specifically designed to fight the Borg because it's there. You
Yeah,
had the Defiant.
Defiant.
Yes,
Yep.
it was not the original Defiant that was destroyed,
What was
but
the
it was
second one called? The
still,
Sao Paulo or something?
yeah, the Sao Paulo before they renamed it Defiant.
Do you think that was a good move? I hate to kind of
I
jump to
think
this.
they
Do you
should have
think that
left
was a?
the
Do you
Sao
think that
Paulo.
was? Yeah. Do you think that was a good move to have an identical ship to the Defiant, like just there right after they lose the Defiant? Like I think it kind of killed some of the weight of that moment.
I think they should have
It's.
introduced a completely different ship.
I agree,
Where I
and
think they
this
should have
also
gone.
applies to um, the Enterprise being destroyed in Star Trek Three: Search for Spock. And
Mhm.
then you get that powerful moment about God bones, what have I done, and all that. And then all of a sudden, at the end of Star Trek 4, you have a completely identical ship just called the Enterprise A. I'm just like, this. Why couldn't you just use? Why couldn't you just design a new ship? Design a new ship,
Or,
call it the
or
Enterprise A, make it
they
look,
already set the
but make it
table.
different.
They already set the table. Have the next Enterprise be an Excelsior class ship. I know the Enterprise B was,
Yeah,
but why couldn't the Enterprise A have been an Excelsior class?
exactly. I mean, just like it. I mean, you still like it kind of kills like the that moment. It can't. Well, it doesn't kill that moment, but the moment has less weight when you rewatch it because you know
Yeah.
that they're just going to have another identical ship right after that. It's not going to be absent. Like the original ship is not going to be absent anymore. Like the fact that what I'm getting at, right? Like
Yeah, I know
there
exactly what you're getting
there'd
at.
be more meaning. It would be a more meaningful loss.
It would, and I know what a train wreck Star Trek Five is. I know, but the
What
fifth
does
Star Trek
Mike?
movie,
What does God want with the starship?
but what they could have done
Feel,
in the
share
fifth
your
movie,
pain, Mike. Share your pain. Share your pain. My mind to your
I don't
mind.
want
Oh,
my pain taken away. I need
oh,
my pain.
what is this in your head, Mike? What are you doing to me? Oh, okay, I'm kidding.
Uh, All right, Cybok. But in the fifth movie, they could have had a grand reveal of the new Enterprise.
Yeah,
It wouldn't even have to be the whole, Cybok. You have to go to this planet. You know, it could have been a much better story. I know Shatner was handcuffed, but also Shatner didn't stand up to Harv Bennett like he should have. Leonard
how's that?
Nimoy told him, you can't let Harv Bennett walk all over you and tell you this is how the movie needs to be. You need to stand up to Harv Bennett and dictate to him this is how you're going to direct your movie. That's what Nimoy told him.
Yeah, hmm interesting. Because
Yeah,
like I'm sure you've seen it too. You've seen the press release of Star Trek Five, and it was just a shit show.
it was.
They're yeah, and then like they were all in bad moods, and or Shatner forgot Walter Koenig's name. He's like, here's the guy that plays Chekhov, and Walter Koenig's like, oh, I'm Walter Koenig, you jerk, dick,
Well, speaking of Walter Koenig, I mean, everybody knows him as Chekhov, but when you see him in Babylon 5 as Bester,
That's his best.
he,
That is his
yeah,
best
yeah,
role, my
yeah.
like he can play a really good. Plays a really good. He can play a really good villain, really good,
Yeah.
terrifying villain. Like you get that Gestapo feel from him whenever he comes on board. Stuff is going to go down when he comes on board Babylon 5 and all that. So, and it's
Hmm.
interesting how he ended up not being on the bad guys' side in the season 4 Earth Civil War arc and all that.
Yeah.
He ended up being on the right side, which is you're like, huh, really? Because the faction that was it President Clark was running,
Hmm. Yeah, it was
they were in
President
league
Clark.
with the shadows, and the shadows we find out were using telepaths.
Hmm.
I forget, it wasn't quite like Field, it's not like Mass Effect, but like Mass Effect stole quite a bit from this from Babylon 5. Because
Yeah.
like Mass Effect, you had people fueling the Reapers. And in the case of the telepaths were hooked up to the shadows or something like that. And apparently they were it's the one thing that the shadows feared, so the telepaths were used against them or something. If I remember correct, I don't remember. I forget exactly how it went. I have to rewatch it. I just bought the Blu-ray season. I still have my DVD season. My brother watched it for the first time. One of the best moments in that show, besides the elevator, where Jakar and Londo are stuck together, and this is after Londo did a whole bunch of shit to Jakar's planet, a whole bunch of shit, a lot of stuff. So
Yep.
we as the audience know what's going on, and you're like, oh, okay, what's going to happen here? And Londo's like, we need to get out of here. We need some help, and Jakar's just like. It just starts laughing. He's like, "Why are you gonna laugh? We're going to die." And then Jakar's like, "Well, I get to watch you die." And then it's awesome.
I mean, it's awesome, but also the dynamic between the two characters. That's one of the reasons why I kept tuning in, is to see what would happen between the two of them next.
The episodes I liked the most were the episodes that featured both of them, or featured Londo mainly. Like, I love the episode where you had the Emperor come on board the station, and we find out quite a bit about Londo's future and everything, and we find out what's going on with Centauri Prime. But there was another episode where Londo tricks his political rival. I can't think of his name, but tricks him into coming down to the planet, and then there's a whole bunch of Narn there, and they just kill him. Was it Riva? Was his name Riva or something?
Yeah. It was Riva.
Yeah, I love that. That was him tricking or setting that trap for Riva was awesome. Like, I was like, dude, this show is like, how, like, you could not write a show like this nowadays. People aren't smart enough to write that. It's just, you're
No,
watching this, it's
and
so awesome and entertaining.
the thing about it, when that scene's going down on the planet, you had the church service going on B5, and I can't remember the song that they're singing on the station, but it's very poignant to what's happening down on the planet to Riva.
Yeah, it's so awesome. It's one of my favorite moments. What did you think of the one with where Delenn is getting tested by this dude in a suit and top hand? We find out that he's actually Jack the Ripper.
I thought that was pretty good.
That was an odd one. It was an odd one, but I thought it was interesting because of that. So you had that, and then you had the one with there was another episode with Brad Dourif plays a brother. I think he was originally a serial killer. So it was almost like he was playing his Voyager role in a way, but he played a Catholic brother. I liked how religion was more of a thing in Babylon 5 as opposed to Star Trek, and even Straczynski himself was a staunch atheist as well. So, but I liked how he didn't discard religion like the way Roddenberry did.
Yeah, and that's what also makes it great, because on Saturdays, Barrett, Cash, myself, Crit, and Phil, we talk about Babylon 5, and right now we're in season 5, so it's just been an enjoyment going back through the series.
I've shown people Babylon 5. Most people I know hate the final season. Like, they can't even get through it. Like, it's so different from the other seasons. So I'm just curious what your thoughts on the final season is.
Yeah, but there is one episode of Babylon 5 I do not like. I like the A story, but the B story takes it away, and that's Grey 17 is missing.
And that was in season 5.
I had
right?
Robert E. That was in season. I want to say it was in season 3.
Okay.
And you had Robert England, and it was a complete waste of Robert England.
Okay. So he's part of the B plot?
Yeah.
What was that episode about? What was the B plot again?
It's where Garibaldi's insisting that there's another section of Babylon 5, even though the schematics don't show it. He gets down there, and it's these creepy cult like people who are down there, and they're led by Robert England. But the episode just loses it at that point. And even J. Michael Straczynski has said, if there's one episode I could take back, it's Grade 17 is missing. Now, the A plot, like I said, is pretty good, but the B plot ruins everything else.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, okay. So that's the okay. I think I barely remember that one. Maybe that's the reason why. Maybe that's a good reason why. Like I
Yeah.
barely remember it myself. So, um,
Well, that's like Move Along Home on Deep Space Nine, season 1. I don't like that episode.
move along. What
I
was that
think
one
it
about? Move along home.
it was the one where you had that species come from the Gamma Quadrant, and they have this game.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that
Cisco,
game. Oh, that
Dax,
episode.
Bashir, and Kira get
Hmm.
trapped in it, and
Yeah.
Alan Moraine. Count to 4, Alan Moraine, then 3 more. Alan Moraine, if you can see Alan Moraine, and then
Yeah.
come with me.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Yep.
you
Yep.
find
That
out at
one.
the end that their lives weren't in danger, yet as the episode was building up to the final act, they're acting like, oh, Cisco, Bashir, Dax, and Kira are all in danger. And I've told Baron this. When you find out from the one character who introduces the game that their lives were never in danger, it defeats the whole episode, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're like what? Like what was this? Oh, this was a fake. Oh, this was like a fake out type of deal. So you guys,
Mhm.
this wasn't really happening. Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, you could be like, oh, what a twist. You could either choose to be like, oh, what a twist. I was still entertained, or you could be like, what the heck are you? What the heck are you insulting my intelligence? So there's a couple ways to do it. Before I was a critic, I tried to give everything the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm.
So I didn't really have an issue with that, but yeah, I could see where you guys are coming from. So, but yes, yeah. So, but yeah, Star Trek was just just besides Star Trek. One thing I know we haven't gotten into yet. And by the way, I did. I mean, I think you already know this. I do appreciate. I think I already thanked you this a while ago, but I'll thank you again for the TMNT game, the Shredder's Revenge
Mhm.
that you
Yeah.
got for me on Steam. Played. I don't know if I played the whole thing. I played it once. I think I played it in a single. I think I did a single playthrough. Was there more content to it, or was it just a single?
They actually did come out with a DLC for it not
Oh,
too
okay.
long ago. Yeah.
What was the DLC?
The DLC includes a few extra characters, a couple new levels, and but I haven't downloaded it yet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Um, but yeah, so like because of me, like so I was like I told you earlier, started listening to some of the TMNT soundtracks from some of the older, older classics like the original arcade game, Turtles in
Mhm.
Time. I started, and then another thing that popped up that people were talking about, people that I know that were talking about, was that comic, the Ronin comic, which
Oh yes.
Steve Prophet of the Dragon accidentally spoiled for
Give
me.
me one second, brother.
Okay, well, looks like I it's like I got him excited for that. So I did start reading the original Kevin Eastman comic. It's a very different. It's very like I don't know how to describe it, but like I'm not sure I'm as big of a fan of the artwork of the original. Okay, Last Ronin, there it is.
Yeah.
So because of them talking about it, because I learned stuff that I probably shouldn't have learned about the Last Ronin, because you're trying to figure out what's going on. Now that's a direct sequel to the original comic, right? The original.
Yeah. Yes. Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird contributed to the story and the artwork.
So I started reading the original one. I just bought it like I think last week. I got as far as getting past Splinter's backstory, which was different from how his backstory was in the movie. So apparently, Master Yoshi's nemesis was not Oroku Saki, but his older brother, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
So, so I thought that was an interesting difference, and the I think they all wore the same headbands, right? They
They
all wore the
did
same color.
because you
It was
remember the
the
NES.
weapons. It was yeah. I remember the NES. They
Yeah.
were all red. They were all red, I believe, if I
Hmm.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
So the only way you could distinguish them was by their weapons. So like the
Hmm.
two Leonardo with the two katanas, Michelangelo with the nunchuck, Donatello with the quarterstaff, I think, and
Yeah. Yeah. The
Raphael with the
bow and
scythe.
the yeah.
So
Yeah.
my intro to TMNT was the original cartoon, was the 80s
Yeah.
cartoon.
That was my introduction, and then I saw the comics. I didn't read all the comics except for the one that was basically a follow up for the original 1990 movie, which was done by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, and
Did they write it or did they direct it?
they wrote the comic.
Hmm.
They wrote it. They drew it.
Did they do the movie? I mean,
As far as the movie, they contributed as consultants as to what the characters would act
okay,
like, but they didn't actually contribute to the overall story.
okay. So like Raphael being as edgy as he was, I'm assuming came from them. Came from
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
And you notice how every other iteration, except for the '87 cartoon, Raphael is always the edgy, moody one, and
yeah. So I remember like yeah that
yeah,
was I thought that was interesting. I remember his scream. I remember seeing the movie. I was 5. I think I was 5 or 6. I think I was 5. This was 1990. I remember seeing in the theater. And I remember Raphael screaming when they get back home and they find their home is ransacked and Splinter was
mhm,
kidnapped and all that. And I remember Raphael
yeah,
screaming. That scared the crap out of me as a little kid. Like so, I think I ran out. I think I ran out of the theater to the bathroom or something. I forget what it was, but I didn't forget that. And I remember. Yeah, it was very for a movie. It was very mature compared to the animated show. I was
it
surprised.
it was, it was. And I think that's what know makes it stand the test of time is how different it was from the animated series and the sequels that followed.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember the second movie was much lighter in tone
Hmm.
than the first one. The first one was so dark, like it
Yeah.
was it was very mature. But the second movie was a little bit more whimsical. I mean, come on, you end up in so the enemy base is in the same building as a vanilla ice concert. Like really, go ninja
Yeah.
go ninja go ninja go. Like really. That's where the final
Yeah.
fight's going to be in the dance, on a dance floor and all that. And then Shredder comes in, and then they blast the amp, and the amp sends Shredder through the
Hmm.
flying out the window, and all of a sudden he's Super Shredder. Like,
Yeah. Who was played by Kevin Nash, who was a wrestler back in the '90s and early
oh,
2000s, and
Super Shredder was Kevin. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, dude, no wonder I was terrifying. Jeez. Oh, okay. I never knew that. That's interesting. But yeah, but like, yeah, the second movie was very, to me, the second movie felt like an ending. So when I saw that they made a third movie and there was time travel, I was like, what is this? I did see in the theaters. My dad took me.
yeah.
I'm like, what the heck is this? They go back in time to like feudal Japan and
Hmm.
they fight evil English pirates, and I'm guessing this takes place during the time of Shogun or something, or maybe after. I don't
That
remember.
movie's a mess. That movie's an absolute mess.
Yeah, I barely remember it. So, um, but like I liked Ninja Turtles was the first thing I was pretty much I think ever into. I think it was the earliest birthday cake I had before Mario kind of took over that role. I was a
Hmm.
kid. I was a big Nintendo kid after that. So, but like I said, I played the NES games. Super Nintendo, played those. I played, I mean, whatever was at the original arcade game. I played that at the arcade. But I never knew about the source material until recently. So I'm curious. I'm curious about the source material. So that's why I finally started reading it now. And I do want to check
Yeah.
out that Last Ronin story too. So is
So
it like
far, from what
would
I've
it
read,
be like,
I'm liking it so far.
I'm curious if it's supposed to be like a definitive conclusion to their story or something.
I wouldn't say so because they're currently working on a sequel to The Last Ronin because of how well it's sold.
But I know that like there's barely anybody left. So I'm just like, how would
Yeah,
that
yeah.
work? So I won't.
You do have to go through the comic to find out who it is as the last turtle.
I actually know who it is because once again, Prophet blabbed about it, so I know, and it makes sense. It actually does make sense for who it would be. So,
Yeah,
but
I'm not going to say
yeah, I'm not gonna say
anything.
that.
I don't want to spoil.
So yeah, I definitely want to check that out. So but yeah, TMNT was awesome. It's still awesome. I still enjoy it. I figure we have about 20 minutes left, so I figure we want to go into talk about um, how you liking Seven Rebirth. I know you were playing it just before the stream, so were you in the Temple of Ancients?
Yes, I was.
So is that, if I remember? Okay, so you haven't completed yet. I'm curious where it ends. I'm curious if it ends where I think it ends, which is shortly after the Temple of Ancients.
I can tell you, I've been
Something.
playing offline where it ends, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Okay, I'm assuming
Yeah,
disc one, if referencing the original game.
yeah, yeah.
So
What which a lot of people have told me, if you've enjoyed Remake and Rebirth, you need to go back to the very original game and play that.
okay, did how much of this new storyline timeline with what's his name being alive factor into the game? I'm curious.
It factors quite heavily.
Because that, I mean, that's basically that's the uncharted territory that I'm thinking about right now. So I'm curious what they're going to do. Did they, like, are they gonna merge? Or are they gonna, is everybody going to come together at the end? Because I know.
I all I'm gonna say is there is a fight where Cloud and this certain character team up.
Okay, keep that in mind. And all right, so I haven't played it, so that's something I have the game. The game's right behind me. I'm right underneath my TV, so just haven't.
Yeah.
I just haven't had I bought the game because I really did enjoy Remake, but I just haven't had the motivation to play. So,
Yeah.
um, so I
Well,
figure the last.
I highly recommend it because it's when you had your contests on your Discord, and remake was one of the items that you were, saying, if you want this, this is how you enter the contest, and then on this date, I'll announce the winner. And when I won it, I remember telling you, I will play it, I will stream it, and it's because of you I got back into playing games like Final Fantasy and other RPG games.
Oh, it's that's awesome, man. I'm glad I could. I'm glad I could provide. So, but yeah, a certain Baron. Actually, no, I don't see a Baron. I don't see anybody. I don't know what, like, it's a blank screen right here, so I don't know I don't know who I'm talking to. So, what's up, Baron? How you doing, man?
Hey,
It's been
Baron.
been a while. So Baron is, yeah. So Mike called you Curly. So you're the Curly. You're the
Yes,
Curly of the group.
he's the Curly of the three of us on Pop Talk.
There you go.
I'm the Mo, Baron's Curly, Cash is Larry.
So did you see the announcement? So I'm I'm excited for Cobra Kai. I'm excited for Cobra
You're
Kai.
excited to strike first,
Strike first,
strike
strike
hard.
hard, no mercy, sir.
Hmm.
The so they're gonna
Eagle
split
Fang.
Eagle Fang Karate. So they're going to do three. They're going to split the final season into 3 parts. So it's going to be a 15 episode final series.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to release the first 5 in June. I think June. Yeah, June, and then they're going to release the next 5. I think in November, and then they're going to release the last 5 in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious. Like I know. Well, I mean, like it seemed like all the character dramas were wrapped up. Like everybody, almost everybody, all the enemies, all the feuds have been buried. Like all the beefs have been all the beefs have been squashed basically. Heck,
Yeah.
even Robbie and Miguel, even their beef is squashed. You know, we find out that you know Johnny and Miguel's mother are they're pregnant with a son and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
that way they're both gonna they're both gonna be connected through that baby brother. So it seems like all the beefs have been squashed except for one or a couple, actually a
Great.
couple. So we're still waiting for the inevitable Johnny versus Daniel rematch, because we've
Mm-hmm.
gotten season 1, season 2, we've gotten a few
Yep.
teases of it, so that's got to happen. Um, I I
Even in this trailer, I felt they were teasing it.
let me I'm gonna bring up the trailer, show everybody. Cobra Kai season 6. All right.
But even with season 5, with the way it ended, I felt that would have been a good way to end the show because everything was wrapped up, like you were saying. And,
Yeah.
Chosen came over, he helped Daniel, and he fulfilled his obligation.
Mm-hmm. He did. I'm gonna turn off no audio this time. All right, so we start with get the Miyagi Do karate right here, and then we get these two. They squashed their beefs. I forget Samantha and you remember her
Tori.
name? Tori. So yeah, their beef. Yes, Tori was terrifying at first. So
Mm-hmm.
um, Samantha is a mixed bag for me. Probably not my favorite character. So
I
uh,
don't think she's the strongest character of the show. I really don't.
no, I don't either. Okay, Daniel and his hot wife. We got our boys here.
Mm-hmm.
I forget there's Hawk
Dimitri,
and
Hawk.
Dimitri, Robbie,
Mm-hmm.
Miguel, and then I don't know who all these other people are. Well, there's what's his name in the background. I forgot his name. I forgot his name. I forgot who his buddy was. I think his buddy ended up being on the other side or something. So many
Yeah.
factions. It's hard to keep track. It's been a while since I watched season 5. Season 5 was awesome. So yeah, we get more Karate Kid right here, and here. So we're gonna get a Chosen versus Johnny thing. Okay, this is gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, every fan wonder how would Johnny do against Chosen? Well, I think Johnny would get destroyed personally
Yeah.
from Chosen, but
I
that's just
think
me.
Chosen's gonna walk all over him.
I mean, just the fact that Chosen was fighting Terry Silver last season with swords. I was like, what are they doing? Are they gonna, is someone gonna die in this fight? Because nobody's ever died in the Karate Kid films before. I was like, what is gonna happen? What's happening here? So
Well, that's what I thought. Somebody was gonna die in that all-out fight.
I was just like, I thought for a second, I thought Chosen was going to die and everything. So, oh yeah, they didn't wrap up the thing with this kid, the younger brother of the dude that bullied Robbie and Juvie, if I remember correctly. So
Yeah,
he's the
yeah,
younger
yeah.
brother of the guy that bullied. I forgot what happened to him. I think he had to, and I wonder if he gets out. That'd be interesting to see. Um, so more fighting. I wonder if like I'm curious. I'm curious if those bag so what was the name of the character that looks like Lucy Liu that was part of the crazy eight or whatever that Terry Silver hired in season 5? So she's going to be back, and she's going to be back with
I gotta look it up. I haven't thought about her character since I watched season 5.
yeah, her right here.
Yeah, yeah.
I liked how they brought them in. I liked how they brought them in at the end of the season, and both what was it? Both Johnny and who was having a hard time against one of their students? It was Johnny and was it Chosen? No, it wasn't Chosen. Maybe Johnny and Daniel were fighting one of her students,
Yeah,
and they were
yeah.
having a hard time with it. Then all of a sudden, at the end, they were fighting. They were fighting the entire all of their people like they were nothing. I was just like, way to kill the way to kill the stakes there. That was my only issue. Because you see one of their characters, taking two of the good guys like nothing. So they're obviously really skilled. So
Mhm.
why, like, if you have a whole bunch of them together, they should be like, you got to run, you got to leave, you got to
What
get away
is
from them, you got to bring more people in.
Yeah, and I want to say her character's last name is Park, but uh,
And then there's I can't think of his name. Why can't I think of his name? What's his? I forget his name.
no,
Mike.
no, Sensei Kim.
Yeah,
That's who she is, Sensei Kim.
Sensei Kim. Okay. Hey, Crease. Duh.
Yeah,
I like how Crease is like he's smoking the cigar and all that here. Is there any hope of redemption for him? I know we
I
had,
don't think there's
and I know you said,
any redemption for a character like Kreese. I really don't.
because I for some reason I feel like I feel like there is. I think it's something he wants. I think it's something he wants. He just doesn't know how to go about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I want, what I hope to see is that Crease and Johnny, which would be the toughest beef to squash it somehow. Because I
Yeah.
don't. What else? I mean, how else are you going to complete Crease's arc? I mean, I don't want. I mean, I don't really want the character to die, or anything,
No, no.
to remain the bad guy. I want. I mean, to me, Karate Kid, Cobra Kai are very slice of life type shows, feel good shows where, I mean, characters are just, they're human. I mean, they're
Mhm.
misguided humans. They do bad stuff, but I mean, I like how, like, all the beefs got squashed, and I hope, I think Johnny and Crease, their squash their beef gets squashed.
Yeah. They bury things and
I don't know how
you know,
I don't know they get that to work, but I'd
yeah.
love to see something like
And
that.
I
Maybe,
wonder if
I don't know.
because season 5, well, not season 5, but now season 6 of Cobra Kai is coming out, and the way they're breaking up the season, I wonder if that had anything to do with the delay of the new Karate Kid movie that was supposed to come out this year, and it's been delayed till 2025.
Oh, okay, interesting. But yeah, this has me excited. Actually looking forward to something now. I'm actually looking forward to a Shogun, because Shogun just ended. Have you watched Shogun by any chance?
I've heard good things about it. I just haven't watched it.
It's really good. The only issue I had was with the finale. The finale, it seemed like it was building up to something, but it didn't. But then again, this was based off of a book, and they made a show of it back in 1980. So it was still true to its source material, but
Yeah.
I want to see a battle. I want to see a battle. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't get to see
I
what it
get
was
you.
building up to. So, but it
Have
was
you
still brilliant.
seen the new Fallout series?
I did. I did. It started off very. It didn't start off great, but the best character throughout the entire show was Walton Goggins as as um, the ghoul. The ghoul was the best character. beginning of episode 7, they basically stripped. They basically ripped off the beginning of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where they introduced Lee Van Cleef. He goes into the house, starts eating their food and all that, and then he shoots them and all that. That it was just like that. It was just like that and everything. So, what about you?
I've watched 2 episodes so far. It's an okay series.
I think it's and I know my friend Salty, he didn't like what he saw. But it really shifts, like the quality really shifts for episode 4. Like it gets better. It gets better, and then episode 8 was kind of like they crammed a whole bunch of stuff just to build to bridge to a new season. So it crams a whole bunch of stuff leading up to New Vegas, basically.
Yeah.
So New Vegas is a thing, and then there are things that didn't really make sense that were revealed in the finale. So, but you'll see when you get to it.
Yeah.
Let's just say it has something to do with Kyle. It has something to do with Kyle MacLachlan's character.
Okay.
So,
and I was just gonna say, when it comes to Fallout, really the only game I've played and I wasn't very good at it was Fallout 3.
Yeah, I actually liked Fallout 3 quite a bit. So Fallout 3 and New Vegas were the only 2 that I played. I have Fallout 4. I still haven't played it though. I have a big stack of PS4 games I still haven't opened and touched yet. So yeah, I would buy games and not play them. That's a me issue. So but yeah, I thought I will probably watch season 2 of Fallout. I think the show was good enough to watch another season. I think that some of the ridiculousness of it is very, especially the satirical aspects, is very in line with the games. Ultimately,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it started off kind of because of all the negative, because of the ill will with how how Hollywood has been writing their shows and all that. A lot of us were not expecting it to be good, and plus it was Amazon, and plus we found out who was working on it. Some people behind Captain Marvel, I think, was behind it. So, and what was the other show? The one show on FX, I can't think of it. Whatever. But something like that. So there was a lot of red flags right there. So it was surprising to see that it wasn't as bad as we were expecting. So who knows what the future is going to be? But Hollywood really needs to step up.
They do, and as far as entertainment, finding good entertainment, you have to search for it. You really do.
So
You still have to keep your ear low to the ground to hear somebody say, "Hey, this is good." It's like the movie Iron Claw, based on the Von Erich family
I heard
in
good things
wrestling.
about that.
That is a very good movie. You don't even have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy it.
I saw The Wrestler back in the day.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
Mickey
that was a
Rourke.
good movie. Yeah.
So what was it called? Iron Claw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Iron Claw. Yeah, I keep everybody every guest gives me things to watch or things to check out, and I always write them in my notebook. So sometimes I get to them, sometimes I don't. I have I have old pages of them. So, but yes, that the Fallout show I thought was fine. I mean, I'm looking forward to. I'm not sure what else is going to be coming out later this year. I still have to see. I know one show that you were covering that I know. I heard good things about was The Old Man with Jeff Bridges.
Yes.
So I
Yes,
know they're
that's
making
very.
another season. So I need to watch
Yeah,
season 1.
they are making a season 2 with Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow returning. I tell you, those two gentlemen carry the show.
John
It's a very
Lithgow,
good series. Yeah.
is he the bad guy?
Uh, Basically, he is considered the bad guy in this series, but he and Jeff Bridges' character have a history.
Mm-hmm.
So
John Lithgow can, John Lithgow, I'm sure you've seen Third Rock from the Sun. John Lithgow
yeah,
can
I
be
have.
like that funny guy, but he can be terrifying. Like some roles he's done, he can be completely terrifying. It's completely opposite. That's how good of an actor he is. Like he was terrifying as the Trinity killer in season 4 of Dexter, for
Yeah.
instance. That's one thing. And then to go back even further in time, he was terrifying as the main villain antagonist of the movie Blowout, the Brian De Palma film. Have you ever seen Blowout? John Travolta, Nancy Allen.
I haven't, but I've heard good things about it. There's still some movies I've heard about that I haven't taken the time to sit down and watch them.
It seems weird because that movie came out in 1981,
Mhm.
but it feels like it belongs in the 70s because of how bleak it is. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Like bleakness was a big thing in the 70s. Like I was just showing a few people I know yesterday the Planet of the Apes movies, especially the
Mhm.
second and the third one. The second and third one end on even though they're PG rated movies, they are very bleak. The second movie is totally bleak at the end, and the third movie is bleak too.
Mhm.
Even though they figure out how to make sequels, despite the fact that both of those movies are bleak. But that was the thing of the 70s. So I mean, I saw
Yeah.
another movie called The Parallax View for the first time a couple of years ago with Warren Beatty. It was him versus a corporation that's responsible for doing all the dirty work of the government. Well, let's just say things don't end well. And
Mhm.
that's all I'll say. But that was the 70s. That was that era of Nixon and all that, and everybody was afraid and a lot of fear going around. So
Yeah, because you see it in Dirty Harry, for example.
yeah, I mean, Dirty Harry's ending. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as say it was bleak, but it was in a way that was, he ended up, throwing the badge. He ended up killing his job as a result. So yeah, I guess you could say that. But then they made a sequel and they undid that. So, but Megan
Yeah.
Fox was still an awesome movie too. So
Yeah.
um, that's going to be a future video. I haven't made a whole lot of videos the last few months. I got to get back into it. Um, so Mike, thanks for doing the stream with me. And by the way, congratulations on getting to 2,000 subscribers. I'm just curious. Was it
Thank you.
did you do a video or what did I'm curious what drove
It's
that?
been episodes of Pop Talk. It's been some game streams. One of the streams, for instance, was a Tomb Raider stream that I did last year that
Hmm.
got over 2,000 views.
Oh, okay, interesting. That's nice, dude.
Because I was playing Rise of the Tomb Raider, and it was part 3 of the gameplay, and I'm going through trying to figure out the puzzle in the game, how the game wants me to do it, and then all of a sudden I notice in slobs that the viewership number keeps fluctuating, going down, then going up, going down, then going up, and it keeps creeping up and up and up. I'm going, okay, well, what's going on here? Because I've had it happen before where bots would come to the channel
Hmm.
and the numbers go up and you say something, you say, if you're there, say something in the chat to let me know that you're there. But it just kept going up. I got a few people who were responding, and the whole reason why they were there was because I was playing Tomb Raider. It's just like when I was
Okay.
playing Cuphead, people would stop by.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on that. I'm happy, really happy for you.
Thank
Um,
you.
the yeah, for me it was my Planet of the Apes I did like a year and a half ago. It's been coming up because I think because of the new movie that's going to be coming out. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking instead of doing 2001, which has been my video I've been working on for a while, and it's just I don't know, I just haven't had the drive to work on it. So I might work on since I'm watching the sequels. I was thinking of doing a video on the sequels, on the Planet of the Apes sequels and all that, and get that out and kind of take advantage of this interest that apparently the algorithm is having. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. So that's what I'm currently working on. Um, anything else you want to promote, Mike?
I just want to promote Baron, who has a great channel. And he really enjoys being a part of Pop Talk, but I think he also really enjoys doing his Babylon 5 streams on Saturday and
So
talking about it.
does Baron take point on the Babylon 5 stuff, or do you guys kind of duel it together?
What, we all do it together. We all bring up different facts about the episode, different aspects of the episode that we liked, different aspects of the episode we didn't like, what the episode was trying to convey to the audience, its historical references, that it was making in particular episodes, especially during the Shadow War. Certain things that were happening that they were making reference to history, World War II, and
Okay, makes perfect sense. So yeah, so when do you guys stream that again?
we
Is
do
it
that
weekly?
every Saturday at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. That's in the evening.
Okay, so everybody tune in Saturday 7 o'clock Central for Babylon 5 streams.
Mhm.
They're very good. They're very solid, and you get some very great insights. So um,
And if you don't mind, I'd also like to promote the Phantom Hooligans and Cash because we've been having a lot of fun doing the multiplayer streams on Friday where we play different games. We were playing Vermintide 2, but we all got burned out on it because we can't get past two stages in that game. Even when we change up our strategy, we
mhm.
can't do it. But this Friday, we're going to be playing Helldivers 2.
Oh, you mean Starship Troopers, the game? Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, everybody's been talking good things about Helldivers. I never even heard of Helldivers until this came out. So we'll definitely see about that. So um, so when's the next Pop Talk? Is that Sunday?
Next Pop Talk will be Sunday at a special start time of 8 p.m. Eastern because the Empire Strikes Back doesn't start till 4 o'clock my time on Sunday. So I'm going to go see that. And then I'm going to come home and I'm going to get Pop Talk ready and we'll go. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Sometimes we just talk about different subjects that come to mind. We we basically play it by ear. Do we want to talk about this story that everyone else is talking about when we really don't have anything different to say, or do we want to talk about a fun story?
I concur, but I don't like, but like, I don't see like, is there a name there? I don't see a name. I don't see text. I don't see anything. I don't think this Phantom Hooligans thing is
Just know that that
exists.
particular gentleman has an extraordinarily large chin that takes up half the room, and sometimes, Baron, I hear that chin hitting the microphone when it comes on.
What's up, Cash? But yeah, thank you guys for being here. Yeah,
Thank you for
so
inviting me, brother.
yeah, I mean, this was a long time coming. I know we did. I think first Truckporial stream was with, believe it or not, with us, with you.
Mhm.
We talked about Klingons and all that. So best
Yeah, we
Klingon
talked about
episodes.
our favorite clean out episodes, and one of the episodes we brought up was Day of the Dove and how good that episode is. And
Yeah, the Chillporeal thing really got started with, believe it or not, I was supposed to do a Truckporial with Angry Canadian AC,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
he ended up getting himself injured. He ended up, going hiking, and he was climbing something, and he decided to take a risk, and he fell and he hurt himself. So he couldn't do it. And I was like, "Did you do that just to get out of doing the Truckporial with me?" Because I mean, what a way to do it. But no, he actually, he had to take time off. So we ended up,
yeah,
because I got him watching. I actually, I got him to watch original series. Like, convinced him, younger guy, to watch the original series. So he watched some episodes, and I wanted to talk about that with him. But we're also big Nintendo nerds, him and I. So I didn't just want to talk Star Trek with him. So I just I came up with Chillporeal, and it was just talk about whatever. And well, it's never really left me. I'm still, this is, you're 40, you're number 46, Mike. You're just a number. It's 46.
it's appropriate. It's my age. I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah, I'm going to be hitting the big 4-0 in the fall. So, but yeah, Mike,
But
thanks for once again, thanks for joining.
angry Canadians are a real good dude too.
Yeah, he is. He's my Nintendo bro, and yeah, everybody subscribe to Angry Canadian. You know, and tell him how awesome he is, but also tell him how much Mario Sunshine sucks. So there you go.
Well, he's the angriest Canadian on YouTube I know.
Yeah, same here. Like he bullies me all the time. He's just like, dude, he's like, your takes are terrible, nerd. And I'm like, no, they're not. So, but no, AC's a good guy. Definitely subscribe to him. And yeah, next week, next Chillporeal, there's going to be 2 next week. So, I'll reveal the next one. The next one will be on Tuesday. I'll reveal the next one in the outro video. And yeah, but anything final you want to say, Mike, or is that any
Well,
final thoughts?
I just appreciate this conversation. It has been over a year since you and I have actually talked on stream, and I'm appreciative of those who have supported me and what I've been trying to do on the channel. But I also want to return the favor by coming by and supporting everyone else. And you know, there's a lot of us out here on YouTube or any other platforms, and to find a group of people who you may not always agree with, but you can still come away with something from a conversation, and come together on streams like this, or you know go to a gaming stream and get together and just trash each other on mic just because you're having fun. you know
Yep.
Creating content's great.
Creating content, building relationships with people. I mean, reason why I do the Chillporeals is to build relationships and hopefully to keep the relationships going by conversation, by listening to the other person, by learning from the other person, and just learning to have a civil discussion, because that seems to be forgotten by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And for me, Chillporeal is very, I mean, you have to be a certain type of individual for me to even consider you for Chillporeal. So you gotta be willing to listen. You gotta be willing to have a civil conversation for starters.
Yeah.
And you have to respect the other. If someone else has differing opinion, you gotta respect it as much. You don't have to agree with it. You can argue it, but yeah, you gotta respect the other person's. I mean, well, you gotta try and respect the other person's opinion, even if it's even if you think it's a bad take. You still gotta listen. You gotta hear them out, and maybe you'll learn something. Maybe there's something you don't know, and everything. So
Yeah, try to see it from their perspective.
exactly. So, and I nearly got into arguments with people not too long ago. So, yeah. So, but I've always managed to, if I've done something or go step out of line, I always, just take ownership and make things right, and
Yeah.
and keep the relationships going. I've met a
Exactly.
lot of people. I've met a lot of people on this platform because of this. I mean, I've brought people back for Chillporeal a few times, but like I'm at 46 right now, and there's still more people I want to have conversations with. And there's still a lot of people left to talk to. There's too many. I've met too many people. I've met too many people. How many people have you met, Mike, since starting on this platform?
I've met so many that I can't even keep track of how many people I've met. And some of the people I've met through the chat, some people I've met when I've been invited to streams, some people who I've watched and I've invited to Pop Talk to be a part of Pop Talk for an episode, and meeting other people who are subscribed to the person I've invited. You know, you do lose track. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say I can remember every single person I've met, because I've lost track of how many people I've met, in your chat, in other chats, and other streams. It's a good number, and there are a lot of good people. Yes, you do run into some people who might cause some issues, but the good does outweigh the bad.
And where does the ugly fit in?
That's a lot of the drama that you're seeing right now.
I see. So
That's the ugly side of content creation.
yeah, so what I try to do with I always try to avoid feuds or anything. If there's going to be a feud, it's going to be with someone I'm really good friends with, and it's going to be funny. It's just going to be funny or
Yeah.
something. Like maybe I'll like there's the polite stage, and then there's the making fun of stage. So
Hmm.
if you feel comfortable enough, start throwing shots at me. Start throwing shots at me. You know, I can take it. I can take it. So
Yeah, I mean that's also part of good friendship is when you start taking shots at each other, but you don't have any maliciousness behind. It's just Baron and Cash, for instance, they'll poke fun at the fact that when I'm playing a game, I die a lot.
yeah, that's me in Halo. That's me in Halo. I play with Angry Canadian and Dread Roberts. They both destroy me every time. So I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I mean, you want to play against me? I'm not going to provide much of a chance. No, that's fine. That's fine. You just gotta get good. You gotta get good, nerd. You gotta get good. You gotta get good. So like
Yeah.
just some tough love or some tough. I don't know what you call it, but yeah. But yeah, that's why I like to. I do really enjoy the relationships, and I do want to reach out to more people and basically, and just reach out and hopefully, foster more relationships and all that. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what I want to do, and that's why so my I really I'm glad you've been able to do your own thing and succeed. And I'm really glad we got to know each other through I think it was Neurotics member stream. I think
Hmm.
that's how I told you about my channel. I think you told me about yours, and so we subscribed to each other. And
Hmm.
yeah, so I'm grateful
Yeah, because
that this
you
initial
came by
thing.
when I was doing one of my recaps, and you know that's just how it began. I mean, well, let's face it, whether it's Gary and Neurotic, Geeks and Gamers, or Doomcock, we all met somewhere, and then we
Yeah,
went on our own YouTube journeys.
yeah, and I mean, so like even though I disagree with them on well, except for maybe Doomcock, but disagree with Neurotic on Picard, but and I haven't really watched any of them for a long time because I've been deciding to invest my time in watching my friends,
Hmm.
content creators that I actually directly do talk to and everything. So
Yeah.
and support them in whatever way I can. So but yeah, I'm just like and it's something that Neurotic himself says. You gotta approach this with humility and with gratitude
Hmm.
and everything. So you be humble, but also be grateful. Be great. I'm grateful for the relationships that I have. Grateful that I'm able to even be able the privilege to being even able to live stream like this and everything. So
Yeah.
um, then don't take that for granted. Don't take your relationships for granted. Do not take your relationships for granted. Not that I'm
No,
not telling you, but I'm telling the audience this and everything.
I
So
know, but I can agree with you. I try not to take this for granted myself because you could wake up tomorrow and it could be wiped out for any reason whatsoever.
yeah, and if you have an issue with somebody, you go, let them know, and you squash the beef. You and I, there was a
Hmm.
little issue that we had a few months ago. I
Hmm.
said something, or I said something satirical, and you felt it was direct. I was directly, it was a direct shot at what you were doing, and you communicated that to me, and I basically, didn't basically tried to explain myself and apologize.
Hmm.
You know, if if distress was caused, and then we squashed that beef, basically.
Yeah, we did.
So it's very simple.
Why? Because we're adults.
Yep.
You and
Yep.
I are adults. We know how to squash any grief that we might have against one another, even if we have to take a few days, to simmer down and then say, you know what, let's just wipe it, wipe the slate clean. It's okay. It's a misunderstanding,
I'm reading
and move
DJ.
on from there.
Yeah, totally agree, Mike. I'm reading DJ Ryan G's thing right now. And I'm reading it like Kirstie Alley Savick. Civility, such an odd idea. Like humor, such a weird concept. What can I say? I just watched Wrath of Khan, so it's still fresh in my head. So, who's been
It-
holding up
it's
the damn elevator?
McCoy.
Did she change her?
Uh,
Did she change her hair? I love that. I love that movie. That movie. I said this on Pop's stream. The last thing I want to say, and I'll tell you this: that movie has aged so well with me. Like as an older adult, it means that movie means a lot more than it did when I was younger. And I don't. Not a whole lot of movies can do that. Not a whole lot of movies have done that for me. So it's yeah, it's a great movie.
you know what I think? What it is about that movie is that at some point in your life, you're growing up with these characters, and to see where they've come from and to where they are at the point of the Wrath of Khan, you know, it does make sense that they are realizing they're not as young as they used to be. They can't do certain things that they were once able to do in their younger days, especially as Kirk is now in the Admiralty and he has more responsibility.
Yeah, that's true. So what's the wait? Why do I see a blank? Why do I see a blank screen here? Like I don't see any words here, or if they are, they're meaningless. Like seriously, like what is this? What are these letters? Like what is this? What's this saying? Like I don't even like I'm not seeing anything.
Baron, quit sniffing the glue. Okay, Baron?
I think he picked a bad day to quit sniffing glue, but that's not important right now. So. Um, but yeah, Mike, once again, I know how many times have I said goodbye, but yeah, so Mike, thanks for being here. Chad, thank you for coming for Mike. Hopefully you guys can come to my I do these weekly, so maybe drop by and say hi, say hey nerd. Wait, who are you? Nerdporeal and
Become
everything.
Nerdporeal. Come on, everybody. Become Nerdporeal.
Hit the bell for notifications. Mike, why should they hit the bell for notifications?
Because you offer great content. You offer these chill streams. You have your retrospectives that you've done that people have watched. You've done Mario Brothers. You've done Zelda. You've done Sonic. You've talked about the games that you grew up with. You've talked about the shows that you've grown up with that have made an impact on your life and an impact on you going into your adult years. They've shaped you.
Wow,
You
I
should
wasn't expecting all this. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you,
They
Mike. That
should
was beautiful.
subscribe to your channel because you are a passionate fan, and you see that whenever you're doing your retrospectives or any videos, even your live streams when you have Prophet on or Salty on. You guys are talking about a
Wheel of
topic you're
Time.
very passionate about. Yes, yes, and why you like certain aspects of it and why other aspects of it just really make complete and total, complete and total disrespect to the source material.
Yeah,
Is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just how it is. It's just how it is right now. So, but I appreciate that, Mike. Really appreciate that a lot. But yeah, everybody, once again, check out Mike's channel. Check out his game streams. Check out his pop talk. Check out his Babylon 5 stuff. Definitely up there with some of the best discussions you're going to get. Well, with that being said, everybody, have a good night. Stay Nerdporeal, and let's take a look at who's going to be on the next Chillporeal this Tuesday. Later.
Night, everybody.